FM radio. Those who are following us on Facebook, Zoom, YouTube, or whatever the social media that you are tuning in, we want to welcome you here. And as usual, we invite you to take advantage of this opportunity to share and the link and invite others to join us on the program today. We have a very interesting program talking about the family. And I'll tell you a little about my guest. My co-host, I noticed she's not on yet. So she'll join us. I'm sure she'll join us shortly. It's a pleasant good afternoon today. I just participated in a seminar in partnership with the Zonta Club. Spoke to a number of young men, boys, high school, primary, junior school, primary school at the Stephen Dillard Primary School. So that's where I just come from. As a matter of fact, they're still there talking with those young men, primary, junior, and senior high school. Good afternoon, Patricia. And then I know there's a march taking place today. It left the Southern Recreation Grounds 2 p.m. And so afterwards, I will join them. When I leave the show, I will go downtown to support the women celebrating, I think it's the 60th year of voting, I think, as well as 6 p.m., the Saxons Junction Group. They will take the rush out downtown. That's on Bay Street in support of that event. So they will not have their regular practice for 6 p.m. tonight, this evening. And so that's a wonderful time. I'm looking forward to it and inviting folks to share the link. I noticed Pastor Mark is not on today. And so because he's not on, I'm gonna introduce my guest so she can share with us. We only have an hour, and we know before we know it, that hour goes by so quick, you know. So I'm gonna tell you a little about my guest, and then she will share any other information that she wishes to share as to who she is, what does she do, and one may say, well, what qualifies her to speak in the area that she's about to share on. Cheryl's sister Cheryl Walker Alexandra is the president of Marriage Children Family Alliance Movement, MACFAM, a nonprofit organization whose mission is cultivating strong, healthy, happy families. She is also the executive founder of National Organization Development Connections International, a non-government organization which, as the name implies, is dedicated to maximizing organizational outcomes by designing innovative solutions to social challenges within institutions. As family is the most powerful, most humane, and by far the most economical system known for building character and competence, the social enterprise and focused family empowerment, self-sufficiency, providence, human relations, personal and professional development education. She has qualified herself in a number of areas. She started this organization as a result of the pandemic, COVID-19. And so, Sister Cher, I'm going to allow you to tell them more so I could give you more time because we only have an hour. And then you can share. And once they finish, then we're going to open it up for questions. As usual, our WhatsApp line, 34336917. Call-in numbers 3260271, 3260271, 3260272. Or you can WhatsApp if there's a question, 433-6917. Sorry, I can't monitor Facebook and YouTube now because I have one phone and my co-host isn't in the room. Sister Cher, welcome to the program, Transforming Lives on Global 99.5.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Dave. It's a pleasure to be here. I just wanted to start by just congratulating you for all of the work that you're doing in the society, among the nonprofit organizations, and indeed in working to uplift men. And we definitely need that empowerment base for our men, our women, and our families. And so I'm really happy to join you and the number of other organizations, including Zonta, as you said, Department of Social Services, and the rest, who are doing a wonderful job.
Thank you very much. So just talk to us, and when you're ready, then we'll open it up for questions. If I have some questions, if the people have questions,
Okay, wonderful. So I thought I would speak a little bit about, I know that International Day of Men was celebrated last week. And I know you did a lot of work there. And in fact, I also yesterday was a part of the education and health seminar.
Yes.
Our organization was a part of that with Zonta down at Centerville Park. And of course, they're advocating for stopping the violence within society. And so I
Right.
thought I would talk a little bit about how that applies, the violence, and which is usually attributed to men, and how that applies to the family. First of all, I think we need to consider first and recognize that men do hurt. And as a result
Yes.
of hurt, and that process, you will find violence.
Yes.
And that is one of the outcomes of hurt. But in our
Okay.
society, in many societies, we don't think that men hurt. We only think that women hurt. And
Yes.
men are emotionally sensitive just as much as women. And I think we need to recognize that. We need to first recognize that within the family when we speak to the boys and we talk to them, kind of differently from the girls, and we don't allow our boys to really express themselves emotionally. And that is actually to our detriment. Because I know there's a saying, there's a saying that goes, Dave, that, boy or men who don't cry tears cry bullets. And that is what we are actually seeing in our society. We are seeing hurt men who are hurting not only other men, but they're hurting women and, of course, children. Violence is prevalent. I want to say also, violence is perpetrated by both men and women. Just women do it in a different way. Men do it usually physically, but women do it kind of verbally. In a lot of ways, we are somewhat manipulative in certain cases, and all of that is violence. And violence, verbal.
I think we're having a challenge with the internet.
Mm-hmm.
I think our internet has gone out.
Okay, I'm still hearing you.
Okay, go on.
Okay, I'm still hearing you. I don't know what So it's just really about recognizing that there's hurt, and there's hurt not only with the men, but there's hurt with women. But we need to focus on men because we don't recognize that they're hurting, and that is what is really causing the violence in our society. Again, that violence is started, or that build up of violence is started within the family, based on how that the child is treated, based on the society. I think we still off? I just saw us go off, but I will continue talking. I don't know who would be hearing, but
yes, we're still online.
Still on. Okay, very well. So so we have to recognize that first within the family, with our boys who are obviously manifesting that in violent ways, which is evident in the society. And we can help by preparing and preventing within the family, rather than having to, or I should say, in addition to what we're doing in nonprofit organization, which is kind of repairing and repenting, so to speak. And those are words from David O. McKay. It is better to prepare and to prevent rather than repair and repent.
Right.
And so we need to start that preparing and preventing within the family.
Yes.
And we can do that by helping or giving the power to the boys, because to boys and girls and families, all family members, because there are a few things in terms of what every human being needs: basic needs that every human being has. And that is related to having, everybody needs love. Everybody needs the feeling of connection. Everybody needs, every person needs the feeling of security, acceptance, competence, and autonomy. And when we don't receive those things, then we feel a sense of uneasiness, a sense of chaos, a sense of anxiety, and that can then breed, fear, and fear goes to blame, and blame goes to anger. And of course, anger will result in violence. And that is again perpetrated over the years. And that's what we are actually seeing. So if we were to start within the family by helping the family members to be able to give that love, to be able to show that acceptance, that security, the connection that all of us need. And we particularly connection with the boys, because if they don't have that connection within the families, that's where we're seeing the gangs, because they're not getting into the family. So they're going to find another family per se, in terms of a gang or whatever, to feel that connection. And obviously that leads to very destructive outcomes in the large majority of cases. And so that's generally it in a nutshell, that we have to approach this Stop the Violence from two ends, from the preventative end, and it is best done within the family. And of course, we're grateful for the NGOs like yourself and myself and all the others that
Yes.
help in terms of repairing or trying to make amends. We cannot take out the family factor.
That's correct.
Yeah, so yeah. So again, I'm grateful to you for all of the work that you're doing, and I'm grateful for the partnerships that we must continue in order to address these grave social ills which are within our country, and in fact within the world, and that is violence, and the give a better approach to again men who need our support, because without men we are nothing, and so we have to also be willing to recognize the importance of men, and the fact that women cannot by no means do it alone.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear you say that you recognize that there's a partnership, because one of the challenges we found is that persons believe that, some people at least believe that they can do it on their own. They don't need that support. You know what I mean? And I'm glad that you recognize it's a partnership.
Definitely.
Men working with women, women working with men. There's
Right.
no competition. And I'm
No.
glad to see that my co-host has joined us as we talk about the family.
Right.
Jackie Gardner. And so obviously, Jackie, at any point you want to, you can pop in, and you talked about the fact that men hurting as a result of the hurts they have experienced. They have now perpetrated the hurt on others. Go back to the old saying, hurt people hurt others.
That's correct.
And the fact that you mentioned it, let me just mention a seminar that I'm going to be a part of Saturday, 3 p.m. And that's a very interesting topic at St. Paul's Church. It's their men's program. Talk, and they're going to discuss some of the topics like why men don't listen, how to grow men's ministry, marital rape, for or against. That'll be interesting. Equipping men to find their purpose. Men and crime, which you just talked about. What's the solution? And another thing you just talked about, helping young men avoid the gang culture. And this one is powerful. If men can get the milk free, why buy the cow? Talk to us, Sister Cher. Talk.
Wow. Exactly. I'm glad you brought it up, Dave, rather than me. And hopefully, whatever I say, you'll protect me from my female counterparts.
Yes, you straight.
Straight A. Yes. So, in a nutshell, that's what it is. Violence begets violence, and violence begins with us really, each of us really going against the grain, going against what our Creator has given us in terms of how we should produce life, how we should act towards our opposite counterpart, and the things that we should do within the bounds of the great power that God has given us to be able to procreate. And unfortunately, in our society, it is now just free game, you just say, I love you, and it's on, and we need to really go back to what, again, the Creator has given us and told us that how we can in fact be happy. And chaos actually happens, or violence happens, where many times against ourselves. We talk about violence being perpetrated on us, but many times we are violent against ourselves. And violence happens when you are doing things that that should not be done, and you're going against, actually you're going up against your Creator by saying, no, the Creator did not give me this, something was wrong with these instructions that He gave me, and so I'm gonna test it. So that's violence right there. And so when you start at that point, then whatever happens is it's just a part of the repercussions of what we in fact started.
Good point. Jackie, welcome to the program, Transforming Lives. I know you're ready to chip in.
Thank you so very much. It's great to be here. Welcome to our guest, our special guest, was having a little challenge with the internet, so please forgive me. I'm hoping it's going to stay up, with the internet these days.
Right. We're thankful to have it, but when it goes down,
So this is I find this topic to be a very interesting one. So welcome to the show, and so glad that you could make your contribution. So I was listening, like I said, I was going in and out, but I just want you to talk a little bit about, and I'll tell you the reason for this. I was watching a program today. Actually, it was divorce court, right? Mm-hmm. So bringing divorce court. So, and one of the couple that was on was talking, the judge was talking about the fact that the lady, despite the fact that she said that she loved her husband, she was saying that she was talking about to her husband with such disrespect. Mm-hmm. And when you love someone, a part of that loving experience is being respectful to that person. So we're talking about family and we're talking about violence. Let's talk a little bit about respect from your perspective, what respect looks like, and how disrespect leads to violence. Okay, so that's a mouthful, but help us with, understanding that.
Okay, very well. So respect, when we talk about respect, and it's different, it has different levels or different perspectives based from the man's point of view and from the woman's point of view. The number one value for the woman is love. The number one value for the man is respect.
Yeah, head on. Right. I found that out from a survey, actually. So that's a proven fact. I did a survey in-house at my church. Right. Just this is so I'm going to let you continue, but it's only because it's on this point. So we did a survey, and the name of the program, Let's Talk Man, Let's Talk Women, and we asked the ladies what they thought the number one need of a man was. And would you believe it? Every single one, those women got it wrong.
Right, I know.
And when the men said that the number one need was respect, they went further and disagreed and told them that they were misleading them. The number one need was sex. When the man was like, no, it's respect. So go right ahead. So you're hitting the nail on the head when you say respect is the number one need.
Yes, and that's research-based. And I'm glad that you said that you did your research within your church, because that's a worldwide research-based information. And so with having respect, it's very important that that is shown to the man, regardless of what the situation is. Now, of course, like ourselves, men are not perfect, okay, but we still must give them that respect. And again, these things must be learned, because if you were in a family where your mother was the head of the family, you're thinking that, hey, my dad was not there, and so he doesn't need to have my respect. I'm going to give my respect to the woman. And so you carry that over, both boys and girls carry that over to their relationships. And so it just goes over. And so that has an effect on other relationships. And so we must consider that and know that. And again, this comes with education. Again, I didn't always know this. Even within my former marriage, I did not know this. I came from, my mom and dad were married, but my dad was an alcoholic. And so he was violent to my mom. My mom had to take over, got divorced. She was the head of the family. And as far as I'm concerned, she was the one who deserved the respect. Not that I was at all disrespectful to my father, because I was young at the time. But of course, bringing that over to a relationship, I feel that now in hindsight, I could have been more respectful to my ex-husband. I wasn't, and that was a part of what led to our demise. Not that directly, because the reason why my divorce happened was not directly as a result of respect, but but what happened, it could have led to what he did, because I was not giving him all of the respect that he deserves. And so we need to, when we're looking at these things, we really need to be very introspective, and not just be about pointing blame. Okay, it was your fault. Well, you were not loyal to me, or you indulged in infidelity, so that's the reason. But not looking at all of the things that may have led up to that. Not giving any excuses for what he did, but just recognizing maybe some of the things that I may have done that may have led him to feel that he needs to be secure in the arms of somebody else, because he wasn't feeling secure with me. Now, I'm kind of going into, but these are some of the things that
that's a big one. I'm glad you said that. And thank you so much for such authentic sharing, because we know in the Bahamas, and this, I love the fact that you say it spills over basically from our homes into every aspect of life. And I can relate to some of what you are saying. I think in the Bahamas, we have a lot of two categories. We have, we have unhealthy homes in many respects. And I know much is trying to be done, but the reality is, we have cases where there are a lot of single parent examples. And I think that even though that mother might stand strong in her place and bring up that family as best she could, if that male representation is absent, unknowingly, sometimes, like you said, that disrespect for man comes up. We carry that over into the children, mind you, not even aware that that's what they're missing, right? When they now, especially girls, for girls, it can be girls or boys, but girls, when they encounter that now in a marriage, they've not had that pattern. They can't look back, and they're just trying to figure it out. And the only way they know is mommy being aggressive or mommy taking over. So, sometimes there's no space for that man. And that can lead into now these relationships where violence come alive, because in the man, in his attempt now to be not giving him, not in any way condoning it, but for him to play his role, he thinks now, he has to be domineering, and leads to aggression, which can lead to violence.
Exactly. And it again, like you said, in terms of the respect is power. for man. That's their power. And so if you're taking that power away from them, they're going to find another way in which to show their power. And usually it's the physical, because they're stronger than the female. Now the female can do other things, that is equally powerful, but for the man, it's the physical part, because their power has been taken away from them. And so we must again recognize that, and we must recognize that it's God designing that, something wrong with the man or something wrong with the woman. That's how God designed it, for us to be complementary to one another, and to recognize that we need one another. And our organization, Marriage Children Family Alliance Movement, is about helping or cultivating strong, healthy, happy families. And happy is an acronym that is a coin, a trademark for us, that means harmonious, abundant, productive, progressive, and yesable. And that harmony has to do with the loves that we are intentional about providing for the relationships within our family. And again, the organization is about bringing that education, because they used to say, or they still say, when you're dumb, you're dangerous. And that's true. I was dangerous. I'm still dangerous. We all are dangerous. No way. But when you don't know, it's like, you bring on these dangerous concepts of that creates a lot of destruction going along the line. So I'm grateful for the knowledge that I have gotten over the years. A lot of it since my marriage, but and unfortunately, but I know that what I have learned, I will be able to be a better wife for my future relationship.
Oh my goodness. Well said. Well said. And knowledge is power.
Yes,
right?
it is.
And so we're on this program, and that's what Transforming Lives is all about, empowering our viewers to make better decisions in all aspects, in their homes, where they have their families, on their jobs, in the community, in the church, like a ripple effect.
Right.
So your organization is a part of that mighty force, that army that wants to ensure, not just in the Bahamas, but around the world, because our program is watched around the world, that persons make sound, good, strategic, healthy decisions. One of the other things that you mentioned in terms of disrespect, and women do it, and men, women now is at that level. Like, you can do, man, I can do just exactly what a man does. I'm not saying it's the right thing, but I'm thinking that's the attitude of a lot of women. Another thing, that when we have disrespect, which leads to violence, and there are different types of violence, is you find persons stepping outside of their relationship. So when they don't have a respectful relationship between husband and wife, sometimes that husband or that wife think I could be powerful, or the way I get back or get my respect is by engaging in another relationship. Talk a little bit about that and the kind of violence, that perpetrate on our families.
Yeah, it's indeed very sad that again that we don't recognize a lot of the things that we are doing within our families. Like I started to say earlier, is that every person, man, female, the gender, which is male and female, everyone needs their basic things that we need. We need them. It's not that we want them, we need them. And I spoke about love, I spoke about connection, I spoke about security, autonomy, competence. These are the things that we need. And so when we don't get them, we're going to seek other ways in which and where to get them. And so particularly for marriages, that we really need to continuously work on being reminded of these things through education, not only the premarital education that you get before you get married, but all through, there should be regular training and reminders, because a lot of times we allow it to get to such a point that there's unfortunately we have been so hurt along the way that there's no coming back. And hence, a lot of times the divorces happen, where, the man or the woman is just like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And at that point, there's very little that can be done. I'm not saying that it's completely, unrepairable, but a lot of times that hurt has already been established. And so it's difficult. So it's important that along the way that we get to have those reminders. And so organizations like ours that is what we're working on in terms of marriages. So marriage is one thing. The other thing is, again, before getting married, there's a book that's called How Not to Marry a Jerk. And and
I love that.
That's actually, or jerkette, it should be, but it speaks about some of the things that you really should look at and what you should be actually doing when you're looking at.
Dave, he said, go no further. He said, ladies, men hurt too. Amen.
Right. They do. They hurt. And again, it's a sad thing that they are not allowed, so to speak, to show their hurt, because if they show their hurt, and so one of the things that is important for us to learn is again, it's harder when you're an adult. It's better for these things to be learned within the family, and they still can be even as an adult, where we learn learn how to be emotionally intelligent, or emotional coaching for both our boys and our girls, to allow them to be able to express verbally how they feel. And if they're feeling sad, or if they're feeling like, they have been disenfranchised, or, that they're able to say that, whatever their comments, that we don't shut them down. Even as children, we don't shut them down, and we allow them to speak, and then we can speak to them as to, or to guide them in the right direction. So there's a lot of education in a nutshell that needs to be done, that will better help us to be able to avoid the violence that we are seeing. Because again, a lot of times we think that we can just say, stop the violence, just stop the violence and then it stops. No, we have to train or retrain. Just as violence is learned, we have to help our persons to unlearn that approach or that address to conflict.
I love that. That is very true. It's not an overnight solution.
Right.
We have to get, like you said, over time, a person became violent. And so a lot of times we have to be patient and get to the root of it. Sometimes, we want an overnight fix. And what they say about overnight fix?
Right.
Those kind of fixes, they normally do not. They're not sensible fixes or sustainable fixes.
Right. That's
so, did you have an opportunity to discuss the different types of violence that we have? I know there are about 5. I mean, some have 5, some have 9. From where you speak, talk about the different types of violence we can have.
Yeah. So there are many different types. There's emotional violence. There's verbal violence. There's financial violence, in terms of withholding monies or whatever. There, the one that we spoke about was that there is the physical violence. It's interesting that we speak about violence and again attributed a lot to the women, but research has shown that physical verbal violence is greater with the women, because they show their violence by bickering and rowing.
Words.
Whereas the men, they will take it, and then they explode. And so that again, that is something that we need to recognize, again, through education. So there's a lot of areas that, again, through introspection, we know when we are causing others to feel uncomfortable, when we're causing others to not feel secure. And the number one antidote for not feeling secure is to show your love, to give your acceptance to that person, even though, yes, I may not be or you may not be as perfect as me, but we still show that acceptance, because that's really a lot of times how we act to others. We're like, you're just not as perfect as me. And if truth be told, when we recognize how imperfect we are, then we are
Absolutely.
better able to accept others' imperfection. And so
That's a deep one. That's a
Yeah,
deep one what
yeah,
you said,
yeah.
because a lot of times we are evaluating persons from our perspective.
Right,
And
right.
if that narrow, that
Mhm.
person, that's a narrow door, that person
Right.
has to fit through. And sometimes as we mature, and that's why education is so important,
Right,
we
right.
realize we were the one with the twisted and distorted
Yeah.
perception. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So that's very, very important. To be able to forgive, to be able to show love, to be able to, again, accept you for being, for not being perfect. And as you're able to do that, you will find that same love, that same acceptance comes back to you. And someone has to be the bigger person, in terms of giving that, because again, if someone is giving you hate, and if you're not learned, so to speak, you're going to retaliate with hate. But as we know, with our Martin Luther King, says, you can't fight hate with hate.
That's
you have
hate squared. That's how that wants another power. Hate squared.
another power. So you have to, to combat that with love. And someone is, and similarly, in terms of the what our scriptures have told us. And again, this is hard. This is very hard. You have to be intentional, and it's best if this is learned as a child. If someone hits you, you turn the other cheek. And a lot, that's hard for a lot of people, but it must be learned. For someone, again, and again, when you're dealing with persons who don't have that education, if you don't, you're looking at, maybe your life being taken, or you being, hurt, you just have to be able to walk away. And again, that is has to do with, the upbringing that you have, the nurture that you have to know, first of all, and this is, I actually spoke about this at my church today, about knowing who you are. And it comes back to the fact of knowing that you are a beloved child of God. When you really know that, you're able to be strong against whatever conflict comes up, against you, or with violence, with disrespect, all of those things. Even when you don't have those basic things that we are said to need, if you know that you are a daughter, a son, a beloved son of Heavenly Father, then you're able to stand. You're able to stand no matter if you get that hate. But again, when you don't know that, and that's where the churches come in, so and the teaching within the homes, that guess what, even if someone disrespects you, even if someone doesn't love you, even if someone, it doesn't forgive you, or doesn't give you the acceptance that you need, that you can get that from your Creator. That is unconditional.
Yeah.
And so that helps you to be, grounded, and not have to retaliate or be violent, or feel like you have to take back that power because someone is not giving you. And that's what is happening really in society. The young men are like, hey, he disrespect me, so I have to show him, or I have to show her. And that's what it's all about.
You're so very right. I think unfortunate, for many different reasons, they are taking on the personification of what the person. So if someone says that you're let's say ugly, God makes beautiful creation, but just for a lack of an example, just a lack of a better example, as opposed to standing in their truth and the word being their foundation, that regardless of what you say, I know that God says ABC, and that's what that's the report I'm going to believe.
Exactly.
I think automatically they take that in that spirit.
Right.
And anger rises up, and then that leads to violence just out of words. Could you imagine? Out of words.
Exactly.
They identify themselves based on words.
Yeah, but don't underestimate those words. Those words can be really cutting.
I understand. Words are powerful. There's power in the words. But I'm just trying to say, before before you respond,
Mhm,
you
mhm.
need to now analyze the word.
Right,
They're
right,
powerful. Are those words true?
mhm,
See,
exactly.
that's the test. If the
Right,
words are not true, then you
right.
need to walk away. Find a way, God, give me the grace to walk away from the words. You see what I'm saying? That's what they just need to get space to evaluate. Yes, they are powerful, but
Mhm,
am I going to now allow these words to
mhm.
empower me, or am I going to speak back more powerful words?
Right, exactly.
Right,
And
to
again,
eradicate the incorrect words that have been spoken.
so true, Jackie. And as I said, again, that it needs to be learned within the family. It
Yes.
needs to be learned within the family. Initially, ideally, because the family is the best system for training, for character building, for competence building. And so when we start building our families and helping them to be able to help their family members, again, it's even more economical, because when other systems have to do it, it becomes really costly, not only on the system, but on governments and the rest of it. Family can do a better job, and they can do it more humanely, and they can do it more economically. And that's not to say, again, as I speak, and those of persons who know me would know that, I mean, and everybody, there's no perfect family.
Right.
There's going to be conflict, and there's nothing wrong with conflict. Conflict is good. No, I shouldn't say high conflict is not good, but conflict will happen. But it's the way that you learn how to deal with that conflict. If you deal with it in a way that's going to empower you and the next person as we move along, that's good. But if it's going to degrade and knock down and be disrespectful in the other person's viewpoints and things of that, that's where it becomes very destructive. And so we must learn those things, better to prepare and prevent. But of course, we also know that even those families that are not structurally and functionally strong, that's where the alliance comes in. That's where, the mentoring comes in to help that family, particularly those families where structurally strong in that they don't have a father, they don't have a male figure, that husband within the home, to be able to help. Okay, and again, we have to recognize that when there is not a male figure within the home, that home is structurally weaker than the ideal.
Absolutely.
And again, that is research-based. We just recently had a expo at the mall and marathon, and we were sharing all the many different research that speaks to what happens when there's no father in the home, including there's more depression within even the woman and the children. There is violence, increased jail entry, increased crime. The girls getting pregnant sooner, being exploited, domestic violence. It just goes on and on and on about the research of things that are detrimental when a father is not within the home. And so I think it starts with us recognizing that this is the case, and not saying, okay, I'm good, I'm good, I'm the mother, I'm good. You're not good.
Yes.
You need help.
And you need to be intentional about it.
Right, exactly.
You've said a mouthful. I just want to our listeners to just go over a point that you've mentioned before. In terms of the home, the number one responsibility of parents is to train hands and heart and to teach their children how to relate to others, to God, to their parents, and to others. That's the number. We think it is to give them some time, give them what they want. Absolutely not. Relating to others, that's primary, and especially to God. And I think a lot of times our parents shy away. We get the extra jobs to get the extra things. And then we try to, we wonder why later on these very same children that we said we made so much sacrifice, got
Right.
2 jobs to provide for,
Right,
how
right,
they end up in some of the situations that they end up in.
right.
In violent situation, and it is because they lack the ability to effectively relate.
For sure, for sure. And it has to do, again, a leader and a religious leader has said, that Dieter F. Uchtdorf has said that love is spelled Time.
Yes.
And we don't seem to have the time to spend with our families. Another quote it has to do with no worldly success can compensate for failure in the home.
Wow.
And so when we consider these things, we recognize that we need to really work towards getting our priorities correct. And we will be having, we will be actually at R.M. Bailey Park from the 10th to the 25th. We will have a booth there. It'll be a multi-purpose booth, a fundraising booth, education booth, a booth that will invite persons to come and sign up for a family empowerment program, and lots of stuff, because as we enter the new year, these are some of the things that we have to look at when we talk about making New Year's resolutions.
Love it, love it.
We need to make sure that our family is at the top of the list.
Oh my goodness, that's love in action,
Yeah.
family in action.
Yes.
That's so many things in action. Once again, where is it going to be set up and at what time? And once again, reiterate the purpose. I love it.
Yes, so it's about building the capacity of families, family empowerment. We always talk here about youth empowerment, women empowerment. We need to empower the family, because that's the best unit that it has the greatest impact on us. And so we're going to be doing a program that it involves helping families to have work, and it's called Step West to Happy Success. I told you what the acronyms for happy is. So it's a program that will invite or give persons the opportunity to have work, education, service, and training opportunities. Hence the Step West, and we will be able to help families to build capacity to be able to provide these needed things for their families to be able to thrive.
Well, kudos to you. Sounds like an excellent initiative being launched. I hope to support it, and I'm inviting everyone, everyone to support this initiative. We have just a few more minutes, and we are always happy to have persons in Zoom, on Facebook, YouTube, and so we're opening it up to questions in these few minutes. Anyone have? Please just raise your hand and we will be happy to take your question, or you can note your question in the chat at this time. Do we have any questions? I know a lot of being clear as mud, but we might have someone with a burning question at this particular time. Please feel free. We're going to move into conflict resolution in a few minutes, so you can prepare for that. But let's see, Dave, do we have any questions out there? Or do you have any questions?
No, I don't see anything in the chat.
Okay, nothing in the chat. Anyone in Zoom? All right. So we know that we've mentioned conflict resolution and the challenge we have in our schools. And you mentioned the fact that conflict can be a good thing. Now, most times we hear conflict, it's all bad. So let's expand on that a little further. How can it ever be a good thing?
Conflict can be, as I said, conflict is inevitable, in any situation. There's going to be conflict because we are different personalities. We are different. Each of us are unique. And so we have different experiences and different thought processes. And so we're going to have conflict because, your thoughts is not going to be like my thoughts. And so, but when again, we have that respect to know that, hey, my thoughts are just as good, or your thoughts are just as good as my thoughts, then we can actually come together and have a better outcome, a better solution to that problem, rather than just one person being the I guess the autocratic authoritarian, and it's my way or no way at all. When we come together and we are respectful of other people's viewpoints, at the end of the day, we come up with better solutions. And
Wow,
so
that's
that's why conflict is so is good. It's good once it's done respectfully.
That's the key word, respect. I mean, because sometimes out of these conflicts, they lead to violence. So talking about
Right.
violence, and that's why it's so important for us to have good conflict resolution skills.
Right.
Actually, from my perspective, I
Mhm.
think that is a program I think that needs to even be
Mhm.
offered at our school level, but in our homes, definitely we
Right.
need to see that. And I don't know if parents sometimes understand that when there's a conflict between mommy and daddy, that children are watching, and that is the example as to how they go about. So if you have a
Right.
very contentious relationship with your spouse, 9 times out of 10, that's the way that child, he sees it as the model
Right.
in terms too extreme.
Right.
Either the child becomes just as aggressive,
Mhm.
or the child withholds his,
Right.
his or her feelings, and that still is not good, is unable to express himself or herself. So learning how to navigate conflict is a big one out there. And for those schools out there, maybe teachers, principals, civic organizations, churches, I mean, because conflict in church is a whole nother big one. That's a big one kind of thing. So if we can add that to our curriculum, just explaining and helping those who might not have had that skill taught to them in earlier years, because it's never too late. Now, it's always best to have it at the foundation level, but every step of the way, that's how good our Creator is. Our God, gives us opportunity. Yes.
Chances.
Opportunity to learn every step of the way. So, being able to navigate conflict is really, really important. And another thing that you point out is if we do conflict correctly, we listen, because that's a big part. That's why we end up with a lot of big rock challenges, into coming out of conflict. We fail to listen. So how important is listening when you're talking about resolving conflict to avoid violence? Right.
And so thank you for your insights and thoughts about that. And I always remember there's the saying that goes, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, that we may listen twice as much as we speak. So that goes to say how important listening is, because, and there's another thing that says that, you should wait until everybody speaks and then you speak, because then you have the benefit of having all of the information before you are able to respond. And I mean, it's all a work in progress, even for myself, in terms of, because they say also a leader, you could always tell the leaders they talking forever. So sometimes we have to learn to sit back a minute and just listen. And yeah, so that again is definitely a skill set that we need to teach, because our children mirror or model what they see. And you speak about the partners arguing, and it is said that we should be able to contain ourselves to not allow our children to see us arguing. Save that for private, of course, that is very we don't do it. Once we get upset, we're gonna say it, and then we don't see the after, when they make up, the explosion is bigger than the makeup. So if you see if the children are gonna see the explosion, they should see the makeup. In terms of telling, that, yes, daddy and I had a argument, but we now have talked about it, we understand, and we're back on,
that's a great
on
point.
level terms, so that they can see also that, hey, there was a resolution to what has happened. And so Yeah, that's extremely important that we do that. And again, one of the things I want to mention is that the opposite side of conflict is that, you know, some people also want to stray away from arguing, and that can be equally as you know, as
Destructive.
yeah, destructive, because we want to understand that you understand what we're saying, or you know, and vice versa. So when you pull away and say, well, I ain't talking about that because it's only going to cause, you know, conflict and row, and I ain't into no rowing, that is also a problem. And it shows the perspective that some certain people have. They know that, hey, if there's a row that comes about, it's going to be explosive, so I don't want to go there. And so that's the other side of it that can be, again, not good for a relationship, because you need to talk. You need to be able to, and then to be comfortable that after that talk, it's going to be okay.
Yep, it's going to be resolved. And also the fact to mention that when you have these conflicts, don't go into conflict that I must win. That must not be the objective. You know, I want to be understood. Because sometimes you want to be the winner, like, yes. And when you want to be the winner, you know, you take a very close approach. Dave, I can see you're ready.
Yes,
I know we're
I have
nearing the
to, I have to
time.
log out because it's 5 o'clock, and we can continue on Zoom for the next 10, 15 minutes. I just want to say to those of you listening to the program on Global 99.5, Cable TV 974, our guest Sister Cher talking about the family. We also want to thank those of you who join us by Zoom or Facebook. You've been listening to the program Transforming Lives on Global 99.5, Cable TV 974. I'm Dave Williams with my co-host Jackie Gardner, along with our guest Sister Cher. I just want to end the program the way we always end, by reminding you that there's nothing more important than having a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, not your church nor my church, not your denomination nor my denomination. We're talking about a relationship with Jesus Christ, who alone gives you and I eternal life. Dave Williams, Jackie Gardner, Transforming Lives, Global 99.5, Cable TV 974. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much. So I think you've been an excellent guest. I just want to give you an opportunity to give your closing words. We went so near to the time, 5 o'clock.
You got carried away, hey? Yes.
But it's been a most informative exchange and dialogue, lots of information for the family. I'm sure that someone somewhere has taken that information. I have, just from the dialogue, you know, I have learned valuable information that definitely I will share with my family. So I want to say thank you so very much. But as we're about to end, I know Sunday is one of those days you're trying to get in everything before the week starts. So what will be your closing words? Back to you. Give us your closing word, what you're having, when you're having it, and anything you want to leave with our audience as your parting words.
Right. Just as Dave ended, you know, in terms of a relationship, a connection with our Heavenly Father, who is the Creator, who knows, you know, the end from the beginning, and that we need to connect with Him in order to be able to resolve all of the issues that or at least to be at peace with whatever issues that we're finding, whether it's in the family, that goes into the workplace, that goes into society. We can find our answer. We can find our answers through a connection with our Heavenly Father. And when we speak about respect, getting respect, giving respect, that respect ultimately comes from our Creator. When we are able to give Him the respect, we are usually able to get the respect from others. And we talk about, you know, the respect of our children, the respect of other people. When we give God that respect, when persons know that we are following our respecter, the person, our Creator, that's where we're going to get the respect. That's how we're going to be able to indeed be happy. And happy family makes a happy nation. Our campaign, Bahamas Strong Family campaign, speaks also about a healthy family is actually equal to our commonwealth. So in terms of the health of our family, my family's health equals our nation's wealth. So we always think in terms of money. So if you want to get that connection, make sure your family is healthy, then you will get the wealth. And
I love that. I love that. That's an excellent way. But just before we end, once again, what's the days? You're going to be at Aaron Bailey, I think you said, what the days and the time so
Yes,
persons
thank-
can follow you.
Thank you so much. We will be at Aaron Bailey Park from December 10th to December 25th, Christmas. And we'll be there throughout the day. We'll put up a schedule, but we will have a booth throughout that period. And we will be offering again a multi-purpose and has to do with offering education, it being a fundraiser, and also it being a praise thanksgiving to our Creator, for our families, and just looking forward to the new year and how we can make family our priority for the new year and into the future.
Well, best wishes with that venture. Hope I
so
can
much.
stop by and read some of your
For
material and
sure,
see what you
for
have to
sure.
offer.
Thank
We're inviting any and everyone, like we said before, to please support this
you.
outstanding initiative. And let's ensure that we go into 2023. Could you believe it, folks? I cannot believe it.
Yes.
2023 as
Okay.
healthy as possible
Right.
with our families. Let's eradicate violence. Let's get rid of the violence and
That's
let's move forward with love. This is
sure.
Jackie Gardner from Transforming Lives. Once again, thanks to Sister Cher. Sister Cher, that's excellent. I love that.
Thank
Sister
you.
Cher, for your wonderful contribution or the information that you've shared. Like I said, pertinent information that we can use in our everyday lives.
Thank you.
Dave, once again, it's great to be here, and I turn the show over to the one and only Mr. Dave Williams as he gives our final words. Thanks once again.
Thank you, Jackie.
Right. So I just want to thank those individuals who took the opportunity to join us this afternoon. Thank you, Sister Cher, for a wonderful time. I'm sure I'll pass by the park to see how I can support you, encouraging
Okay.
everyone else to have a wonderful Sunday afternoon.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye. Take care. Hope to meet you in person.
Yes, thank you. Excellent interview.
Take
All right.
care.
Bye.